We got lots to talk about. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a podcast episode. Yes, I'm going to talk about the OnePlus Nord N10 5G and just my final thoughts about it, using the phone, playing around with it. We're going to get into some Google I/O talk. Google I/O 2021, right around the corner, and I'm excited for it, and I hope you guys are too. And my expectations of what I think that we should see. On top of that, discussion. Shout out to Metalhead 555. Discussion on Google Duo possibly falling to Google Meets. So all that in today's episode here. Again, shout out to the channel members. For those being a channel member, thank you guys so much. And today, there will be a live stream for you guys, members only, this afternoon. So let's get into it. Let me talk about Google I/O 2021 and what I'm hoping to see at Google I/O 2021. So that is like my favorite thing to watch. My favorite event to watch, right? Tito was a cool guy. I know. But that is my favorite thing to watch. I like to see the advancements in AI, so I'm really focused on that keynote when they start talking about it, about how much further they've pushed AI, how much better it's gotten, and what else are they adding in to what's up, Tech for Your Needs? What else they're going to be adding into AI? Like, have they made any advancements in Google Duplex? Those are some of the things that I'm really interested in hearing about at Google I/O 2021. Also, what new features are they bringing to, Android, and also the advancements just for everything else. Like, we have the call hold feature, which will stay on the call and hold for you while you're holding for somebody else. And when that person comes back on, it will notify them that you're coming back on, and will notify you that it's a live rep on the call to get back on the phone. That is a very handy feature because a lot of people don't like dealing with waiting with that odd elevator music. What's up, Mario? What's going on, man? Appreciate you for being here. People don't like that elevator music. It's absolutely annoying, even though most call centers use that to try to keep the person calm while they're doing what they're doing. People hated that. So the hold for me feature with Android, really nice touch with AI, basically being able to do these things for you. Duplex, AI being able to talk to people on your behalf and schedule appointments and things like that. That is a real nifty feature to have. So the advancements in AI is what I'm really, really looking forward to in Google I/O 2021. The fact that they may talk about the Pixel 5 is another thing that I'm very interested in, but because that it's been said that the Pixel 5 is only releasing in the United States, supposedly because of a chip shortage, and that it will also be releasing around August, the same time the Pixel 4a did, I'm at least hoping that they will show us the device. And yeah, I mean, okay, so August is like 3 months away from I/O, because I/O being in May and the release of the Pixel 5a 5G more than likely being August. Yeah, it's about 3 months away. But I mean, they can still give us a little snippet, a little sneak peek of the Pixel 5a, just for people to see. I couldn't find that photo. I'll try to find it so I can show you guys. I'm pretty sure it's just a render. It's not like an official color. But if they are making a crimson red color for the Pixel 5a, that's an interesting color to go with from what we've had in the past. We've had the blues, we had green, we had a pinkish color, we had purplish. I think it's about high time for like a red one. I mean, at least I'm going to say that. It's about high time for a red one. But I wouldn't mind them showing the Pixel 5a. That would actually be pretty nice to see at Google I/O 2021. And also on that note, I would love to see these Pixel Buds A. Of course, more rumors coming out for the Pixel Buds A, talking about that it's not going to have the swipe gestures. So I guess the buds themselves, the little Mentos buds, are not going to be touch sensitive, which I think it's a stupid move for them to do that. I don't know why. They could have easily just fixed the antenna issue that caused for major disconnections with the Pixel Buds. I mean, I still have my Pixel Buds. They still suffer that dreaded head movement. It loses connection. It's very annoying at times. Sometimes these things will work with just flawlessly, but I mean, it just, I don't know. I guess you have to sweet talk it. You have to talk nice to it and pet it and all kinds of other stuff to get it to do what you want it to do. Otherwise, you're just going to be like plagued with issues. Pixel A is a good thing that Google came up with. It is likely going back to the Nexus days, a very affordable price with 80 to 90% of the features of the flagships. I mean, so like the only thing that differentiates the Pixel A series from the Nexus line is that Nexus was Google's partnership with other OEMs to build the hardware. That's really all of what it was. So they wanted to showcase the next version of Android. They would go to Samsung and they would go to LG and say, hey, build us a phone. We're going to brand it Nexus and we're going to put the latest version of Android in its release. That's really all that it was. Initially, the true essence of the Nexus brand was actually for developers to develop Android applications and services for the latest version of Android. That's what they were doing on. They were using a Nexus phone, but it ended up catching up being like a brand that everyone really liked. And yeah, the Pixel A just brings you everything that the Pixel flagships has, more goal-focused on features and software experience, but with a more affordable pricing as far as them scaling down on the material to build the phone, and also certain features not being prevalent in it, like wireless charging and IP certification, water dust resistance, those types of things. And even the lack of a camera sensor, as we saw with the Pixel 4a versus the Pixel 5, which had a medium, which was the Pixel 4a 5G, that adopted the best of both worlds. So, I mean, yeah, I guess you could say that. But with the Pixel Buds A, I'm wondering, like, what is the selling point of these things? I mean, did they use a better antenna for better connectivity? Because me personally, I could care less if I can connect my Pixel Buds to my Pixel 5 and be a football field length away from it. I don't need to be a football field length away from my smartphone. When I take out the trash to the dumpster, I'm not trying to listen to music and take the trash out to the dumpster and leave my phone in the house. I don't care for that. So if it wasn't reliant on an antenna that can do long distance, I would care less. You know, as long as I can remain a good distance from it, you know, like I can leave my phone in my bedroom and be in my kitchen cooking dinner for the family and listen to music with my buds. But more than likely, most people carry their phones in their pocket anyway. So I'm just hoping that they correct the antenna issue with the Pixel Buds. But sad that rumor says that the touchpad is not going to be on the Pixel Buds A. So with that being said, that's another thing that I want to see at Google I/O with the Pixel Buds A announcing. I also want to see what they're doing as far as smart home inventions, smart home things like that. You know what I mean? Smart speakers, maybe, you know, advancements in like, you know, the doorbell cam, maybe Google branded light bulbs that, you know, can do a lot and compare with Google will compare with Google Nest. Those types of things I'm wanting to see. And I'm also wanting to see other apps and services that come that are, you know, that bring things to the table. You know what I mean? So with Google I/O 2021, I'm very, very, very excited for it. I'm very to see what advancements they're doing with software technology, and also a little bit of hardware technology. And maybe, just maybe, we'll get some talking points about the GS101 chip. That's another big thing that I really want to see at Google I/O. I want them to talk about the GS101 chip. I also want them to talk about what modem they're going to be using with that chip, so that way we know kind of an insight of the Pixel 6, which is another thing that I hope that they kind of touch base with. They don't really have to show us the product. They don't have to be like, this is the Pixel 6 and da-da-da-da. I know that's saved for the Made by Google event in October, but I would love to hear just a little bit more about the Pixel 6. And if there is a Pixel Fold, they would definitely want them to talk about the foldable technology that they're going to be using if they're going to adopt it as one of their lineups. I would love to know that. So these are some of the things that I'm hoping that we see at Google I/O 2021. I also want them to talk about their partnership with T-Mobile and what does it mean for consumers? What are we going to get from it? What is the benefit of this partnership between both companies? How does it work for you? I want to know these things, and I want Google to answer it because T-Mobile's not always forthcoming with their stuff. So I'd rather hear it from Google themselves as to why they chose T-Mobile to partner with rather than going with AT&T or Verizon. Those are some of the things that I want to really want to hear about. And also want to see, hear any advancements in Waymo. I think it's called Waymo or Waygo. I can't remember. But Google is a self-driving vehicles. I want to hear more about that too. I just want to know like all the advancements in what Google is doing as far as furthering technology in whole, not just mobile technology, but in whole. I want to know if they're doing some really big advancements to Chrome OS. I want to know if they're going to do some advancements with Chromebooks and Pixelbooks. I want to know if they're going to reinvigorate the tablet generation. Those are some of the things that I want to know about that I think they should talk about in Google I/O 2021. So those are my expectations of Google I/O 2021. All right, so let's shift tracks here. Let's talk about Google Duo versus Google Meet, as it looks like that Google is favoring Meet over Duo. Duo has gotten very little attention over the last year. I mean, the latest major push that they gave to Google Duo was the ability to have multiple people on a video call. And that was the last thing we ever heard anything major of Google Duo doing any changes to the platform itself. But lately, there just hasn't been any major pushes on Duo. But we do see Google Meets making a lot of advancements, integration into Gmail, integration into Hangouts. I mean, these are some of the things that I'm just left scratching my head, like, why? Why is it this way? Why does Google tend to do this? Because Duo is phenomenal. Duo is tremendous. It's exceptional. I love it. I love using it. When people are just like, what's comparable on the Google side to FaceTime? I say Duo. Some people will laugh and be like, it's not comparable to FaceTime. Yeah, look, we're not apples to oranges, but we're not here to really talk about iOS or Android boards when it comes to these apps. But on the Android side, Duo is the closest thing that comes to a FaceTime-like experience. Video calling, and it's easy. And one of the quintessential things about Duo that I think a lot of people forgot was when Google announced Allo and Duo. The reason that Duo was what more people looked at was because the ability to have a video chat and the app itself wasn't heavy or, like performance extensive. So your video chat would be seamless and smooth. They touted that you can have a very, near considered near weak signal and still have a very clear video chat, right? So that was one of the things that I really loved about Duo, and thought that this was going to be it. FaceTime is still better than Duo, especially in the States. I guess so. If you're an iOS person, then of course FaceTime is going to be better. But remember, FaceTime is not on Android, so to be honest, it's not comparable in any way or form. Duo is comparable because you can use Duo on an iPhone and you can use it on an Android phone. And I have to say the experience is good. As a matter of fact, on my iPhone, I use Duo over FaceTime. Sorry to say that, but that's just me. That's me, right? That's my opinion. I can do a FaceTime comparison to Duo if FaceTime ever came to Android. That would be a real comparison because you'd be able to see how FaceTime would be on Android and how FaceTime is on iOS. But you can't, because Apple would never let that go over to Android, just like they will never let iMessage go over to Android. But on the Android side of things, what comes close to an experience that FaceTime gives on iOS is Duo. It's seamless. It works with weak signal, and I know this to be a fact because when I was on Boost Mobile and Boost Mobile had very, very low connection in certain areas in this city, I was still able to make a Duo call to the missus, and it was a clear connection. There wasn't pixelation in the video chat. There wasn't a freeze or two. It was just smooth, right? It worked. End-to-end encryption on Duo, yeah, at the time of its launch, no, didn't have that. But really, I'm nobody special. Nobody's tapping into my video call to listen to me ask the missus, what are we having for dinner tonight? So I'm not too worried about that. However, with the way things are going right now, Google is like really focused on Google Meets, which if you didn't know what Google Meets was, before it was called Meets, it was actually called Hangouts Meets when it was first introduced. So Hangouts Chat and Hangouts Meets, I did a video back in the day where I said that Hangouts Chat is not for consumer use, and people were kind of confused. It's because we had 3 different Hangouts apps in the Google Play Store. We had Classic Hangouts, which is what we've always had since the conception of Hangouts when they converted Google Plus Chat to Hangouts. We've had that for the longest time. That's the main one. But then later on, they made an enterprise application, which was Hangouts Chat. That was supposed to be for businesses to chat. And then they had Hangouts Meets, which was supposed to be like video conferencing. And that's what it was. So technically, before Zoom ever came out, Hangouts already had this with Hangouts Meets. Little by little, they started to open up Hangouts Chat and Hangouts Meets when they announced that they were getting rid of a classic Hangouts in favor of Hangouts Chat and Hangouts Meets. And then completely altered the name when it became public and no longer an enterprise usage. It went public and it was changed to just Chat and Meets, or everyone identifies it as Google Chat and Google Meets. Hangouts is still active today. It's bare bones. You can still use the chat, but your conversations have already been migrated over to Google Chat. So with that, you see Meets being integrated into Gmail. On Hangouts, you can still place a traditional Hangouts video call, but more than likely when you try to, it suggests launching Google Meets. It tries to go that route. And then there are people who prefer Google Meets because it feels like Zoom. And to me, Duo is not to be like Zoom. It's not to be a group video, hangout, basically. Duo is supposed to be a video call. And they've opened it up to allow multiple people to be on the video call, but the true essence of Google Duo is supposed to be a video call. FaceTime is never developed to be a replacement to Zoom. It never has been. I mean, people are using it because of the multifunction of FaceTime, allowing you to group FaceTime people, but it was never made to be that. It was made to be a video call. Video calling was supposed to be the evolution of the phone call, but more people still tend to text over making a traditional phone call. And so video calling just didn't take up that void. But initially, that's what both Google and Apple were going with. They were like, okay, for years and years and years, we've had the telephone. And for years and years and years, we've had audio calls. That's all you heard was the person's voice. And so video calling was supposed to replace that. Not only do you hear the caller's voice, but now you can see them in a live video feed. So you can really see, expressions. You can tell if somebody's mad. There was no longer being on the phone call saying, to your significant other, oh honey, why do you sound so mad? You sound mad. Are you mad? Are you depressed? Are you sad? No, now when you're on a video call, you can see them. So you can tell their mannerisms. The only way you would have to ask those questions is if they were mad at you and they turned off the video cameras and you couldn't see them. Then it's all black. You can't see them. So it is sad to see that Google does this thing called cannibalism. Google likes to cannibalize their products and services. And honestly, like when they first talked about that Meets, the head of the development team for Google Enterprise, was trying to get Google to favor Meets over Duo and just to kill Duo and strictly just go with Meets. It was how do you put it? To me, it was very aggravating. Is Google Duo used a lot in your circle? Actually, mostly everyone that I talk to has FaceTime. So like my older sister has an iPhone, my niece has an iPhone, all of my kids have an iPhone, except for my youngest son. He likes Android. So, but like my daughters have it. And yes, every now and then we use FaceTime. But we just prefer using Duo. So it's not just like, how do you put it? If your question is to prove a bias in my usage, I've already admitted a bias in my usage. I prefer using Duo because I like Duo. It's biased. I'm not saying FaceTime sucks. Don't get that impression. I'm just saying that when you're going to compare, if you're going to compare FaceTime to Duo, it's hard to do that because FaceTime is not on Android. Duo is on iOS and Android. You can use it on both. Now I can compare Duo on iOS to Duo on Android and see which is better. You know, does the development for an iOS app, does it look better? Does Duo look better on an iPhone or better on an Android? That comparison I can make. But to really compare Duo to FaceTime, can't do it because there's no FaceTime on Android to really kind of, build that comparison. What up, Big John? What's going on? I enjoyed your live stream yesterday, man. It was nice seeing you on a live and just openly talking with us. So thanks for being here, my friend. But yeah, but even if, let's say, Duo wasn't on iOS, my point is that to have something, because FaceTime is what a lot of people know of. FaceTime is talked about a lot. Even you're up here batting for FaceTime, and I'm not even downplaying FaceTime, and already you're batting for them. But FaceTime is well known, and so something that comes similar to FaceTime that's on Android is Duo. That's the point that I'm making. Google Meets is more like Zoom, so it's more video conferencing. That's its forte. Duo is video calling, so video calling first on Duo and conferencing secondary. On Meets, it's video conferencing and then video call secondary. So it's just weird how Google's cannibalizing this. They should leave Duo as is. The only reason why FaceTime is better is because when you're at work, at least for me, my boss will ask me to FaceTime him, and I didn't have an iPhone. It would be an awkward conversation to use Duo. Oh, would it? I mean, honestly, in my opinion, no, that wouldn't be awkward. Why would it be awkward? Because you don't have an iPhone? I mean, I don't know. I don't know where you're coming from on this, because you're talking about like the only reason why FaceTime is better. That doesn't make it better. That has no ground to say that it's better than Duo. If you were to compare it, like my boss uses an iPhone, so it'd be awkward if I didn't have it. That's why it's better than Duo. That doesn't, like, give me facts. Like, I'll give you one fact to help you out. The reason why that some people prefer FaceTime over Duo is because FaceTime does have end-to-end encrypted video calling. So there's security around it. Duo, I don't think has that yet, or they probably do have it now, but when it first launched, it didn't. So I gave you a handout right there. But I mean, it's that right there is biased. And then, like I said, I didn't say that I wasn't being biased about me liking Duo over FaceTime. I am. I prefer it. But that's for me because it's my opinion, right? Everyone's entitled to use what they want to use, and I'm not saying you're wrong. So I hope you're not getting that across when I'm talking about this. I'm not saying that FaceTime sucks compared to Duo. No, not at all. But it's what I prefer to use. But my whole thing is that Duo is going to be an afterthought because Google is pushing for Google Meets to be the standard in that realm rather than Duo. And I really think that Google should just leave Duo alone. Not leave it alone like they abandoned Hangouts, like classic Hangouts, but stop trying to get rid of it. Stop trying to push Google Meets down people's throat. Statistically, looking up online, when you look at it, more people on the Android side platform rather would use Google Duo over Google Meets. Some people don't even touch it. Even when they integrated it into Gmail on desktop and on mobile, on the mobile app, people still don't use it to make a video call. Matter of fact, video call is not even that popular. It's popular on iOS only because it's got other features to it, right? Like I talked about end-to-end encryption calling, protection and security while you're on a video call. But also, if you don't have service on your iPhone, FaceTime is what you can use to make a phone call to other iPhone users. So like if your whole family is wrapped up in the Apple ecosystem, and say there's a kid that's mostly at home all the time and needs to call mom and dad on their iPhone, they can use FaceTime over Wi-Fi to call their mom and dad. They don't have to have phone service. They can rely on Wi-Fi at home. And so there's more functionality to FaceTime on that. But even Duo does the same thing. On home Wi-Fi, you're able to. The only downside to it is that you have to register a phone number to Duo or Gmail for it to work. But other than that, you can have no service on it, because that's how my youngest son calls me. He calls me on Duo. So it's Duo and FaceTime are very similar in just about almost every aspect, except for the security wise. Apple's approach to security is different from Google's, and that would be the biggest difference there. But to really compare them, FaceTime would have to come to Android, so then we can all go down the list of everything and not miss anything or have to excuse one from the other because it's not on this platform. That's my perspective on comparisons. But Google wanting to get rid of the Duo is probably one of the biggest mistakes they're going to do. One of the biggest mistakes. There hasn't been complaints about the user interface. There hasn't been anything like that. How's the phone? I haven't got into that yet, Ciova, and I appreciate you for coming in, man. Appreciate you for being here this morning. That's the last part of this podcast I'm going to talk about is the OnePlus Nord N10 5G and my experience with it. I'll get into that. Let me wrap up this whole thing with Meets versus Duo, and Duo probably falling to Meets. So if Google kills this and it joins the Google graveyard, and if you guys would like to see the Google graveyard, just go to killedbygoogle.com and you can see every headstone of every service, every app that Google has killed over the years. And if they kill Duo, this will be another one where I look at Google and pull my hair out and just curse every bit of name of them. And the reason why is because there was one app they killed that I really, really enjoyed, and that was Inbox by Gmail. I really enjoyed that app because that app was, it just organized your emails for you. You didn't have to go in there and say, this is a bill, that's a spam, that's a this, that, and the third. It did it for you. And so if you didn't want to look at your bills, because sometimes, we get our paychecks and we're happy that, we got a little bit of overtime and we're looking at the amount that we got. We're like, yes, we don't want to open our emails and go, okay, this is what's going to take my money right away. Sometimes we want to wait a few hours and just hold on to our paycheck just for a couple of hours before we got to start paying bills. And so with Inbox, you didn't have to see your bills unless you wanted to. Because when you open Inbox, you can go through your main thread and go through all your emails there. And then when you're like, okay, let me see what I got to pay and whatever, then you would go into finances, the finance folder, which had all your emails about your bills, like this bill's due on this day, that bill's due on that day. It organized the shits out of your emails. And they took the idea of Inbox and merged it into Gmail, but they never took that feature and put it into Gmail. And therefore, when they killed it, I was upset. So if they killed Duo, I would absolutely be upset too, because Duo works for me. I prefer using Duo over Meets. And it's not for the filters and stuff like that. You can do quirky filters on Duo also. You can turn your head into a fish head or a dragon head or whatever. You can do fun stuff with it. It's got a little bit of fun to it, but the main thing is it's video calling. And that's entirely what they're trying to do. And I think Google is stupid for pushing Meets, because I don't want a Zoom-like experience on a video call. I want a personable video call experience, and Duo delivers that to me. All right, so the last thing we're going to talk about is the OnePlus Nord N10 5G, and I've been using this phone for a little bit of time right now, and I'm just going to tell you guys exactly what I think about it. I got to say this, okay? So it's actually pretty good. It's I posted a video that there was a possible problem, that I found some jank, some jitter and stuff like that with scrolling. And luckily, after several people reaching out to me and doing some tests, it actually wasn't the phone, it was YouTube. It was YouTube that was glitching like that. So thankfully, it was YouTube and not OnePlus. So yeah, because I hate scrolling jitters, right? So, before when I talked about the OnePlus Nord N10 5G, I talked about it having a Snapdragon 690. That's obviously not true. You can see from CPU-Z, it's a 750G. That is a chip that I had inside here. But, well, specs aside and everything like that, I have to say the experience is smooth. Okay, I see where people are coming from when they're saying this is the closest to a Pixel experience you're going to get with using Oxygen OS. And Oxygen OS is very light. It's not very heavy. Like, it looks like it's a heavy user interface because of all the customizations you can do on Oxygen OS, but it's actually not. It's very light, very close to stock Android. It just has OnePlus customizations in it, which you're able to, and the customizations are what I call worthy customizations. Being able to change the accent, up here, which is what's in the Pixels, in stock Pixels, right? But you got more colors to play around with, so you can really make it personal. You can go with the yellow accent, you can go with a red accent, green accent, blue. I think you can go with pink. And, for the ladies out there who want to rock, the pink color. Yeah, so you can get in here and just start, start customizing it. You can change your clock style. You can let's see. These are the colors that you could actually change the accents to. And yes, there is a pink. You can turn it pink for the ladies out there that would like that color. Or they got like a more darker, kind of like a purplish pink color. You got purple. There's all kinds of colors. Hell, let's just go red for now. Like red. Let's go yellow for now. Change it up a little bit. Hit yes on that. And now when I do the drop down, it's yellow. So customization is really good. If you're one that really likes to make your phone personal for yourself, Oxygen OS, you're gonna love that. You can in the Pixels, but you can't go that in depth with customizations and stuff like that. As far as the phone itself, see there was a little bit of jank there, and then it smoothed itself out pretty quick. So okay. Oh, obviously this is not a flagship phone, so I don't expect it to be buttery smooth from jump. It's gonna have a little bit of jitter in the very beginning of using it when it's been off for about a couple of hours. But it smoothed itself out. So scrolling, you see how smooth that is? That is smooth. I like that. The display size is a nice size for watching movies and stuff like that. I've been watching a lot of media on this. And so, yeah, I got to give it to them there. Nice big display. Of course, good idea to go with the hole punch design. I am not a person that's going to nitpick notches, teardrop bubbles, and all kinds of crap. Okay. With a nice wallpaper, that hole punch is hidden. When I watch things on it, because it's a very tall display, so when you turn it in landscape, it's very wide. It doesn't bother me to have black bars on the side and watch in the middle. At least the selfie cam is not interfering with looking at it. So display gets a big thumbs up in my book. Build quality of this, okay? So this is a plastic foam, polycarbonate. It's got a gloss finish to it, so you guys can see Fingerprint City on the back of this. But I got microfiber cloths to wipe it down, everything like that. Of course, a protruding camera notch. See if I can get that shown there. Yeah, protruding camera notch up there. But that's where all smartphones are going these days, with the quad sensor pickups. And yes, you do got you do got those sensors on there. Would you recommend this phone over an iPhone? You're really on that iPhone thing, man. You know what? To tell you what right now, I would recommend this over an iPhone 10. I would recommend this over an iPhone 10s. I would recommend this over an iPhone 8. Now, if you're trying to go as far as to recommend this over an iPhone 12, well, obviously, no. I wouldn't recommend it over an iPhone 12 or an iPhone 11. Reason being is that the processing chip in those are much faster, much capable. This handles what I throw at it. It handles what I throw at it very well. But you're also talking about, iOS versus Android too, which, obviously there is subtle differences between iOS and its Unix-like development, and then Android on its Linux-like development, right? So those are some of the things you have to think about there. But over iPhone 7s, 8s, iPhone 10, iPhone 10s, yes, I would recommend this over it. I'd recommend it over it on several reasons, okay? Band compatibility to networks. Obviously, it's going to have newer ones because it is a newer device. It hasn't even been a year old yet. Of course, there are some things that, it's not going to perform well on, which I'll get into in a little bit. But yeah, if you don't want to spend high price for any of those, you can go with one of these. Like I said, build quality, polycarbonate, plastic. It's got the quad camera set up on the back for what you can do with it. And I'll get into photography because the photos that comes from this is actually decent. Okay, I am not a professional photographer, and nobody follows me on Instagram because they think I am a professional photographer. But if you can really calm yourself when you're taking a photo, you can get some good photos out of this phone. You really can achieve shots that you want to get out of it. Portrait is actually pretty good. I think sometimes portrait can be a little bit over than what you want. Like if you want more of a natural bokeh effect, this one kind of goes beyond that. Really emphasizes that bokeh effect, the foreground shot and the blurred background. So sometimes you may need to mess with that, especially in pro mode. And you do have a pro mode on it. So if you know what you're doing, messing with white balance, messing with ISOs and all that stuff, you can really get in there and get the shot that you want photo-wise. Video is not bad at all. As a matter of fact, yes, I am ditching away from Metro. So this won't have service on it because obviously it's locked to Metro. When I find a way to network unlock it, I will, and then I will use it on whatever else I want to use it on that's compatible with this. But this I will use to shoot regular videos with. I like the cameras on it. I think they do good. So in my book, the cameras are solid. Does it beat my Pixel 5's cameras? No. Comes close to it. Comes very close to it. The Pixel 5 cameras I don't hold on a high tier only because of the older sensors that it's been using for the longest time. But it does come close to it as far as photography and cinematography. Audio on this thing is really good. Okay, so it doesn't have the punchy bass that my Pixel 4 has, but this thing is loud. It is loud enough for you to watch movies, watch YouTube videos, listen to music without pairing to a Bluetooth speaker. You'll be able to do that with this. And a big key factor here is that 3.5 millimeter headphone jack at the bottom. That's a nice touch. If I want to use these headphones with it, I can and listen to music, or I can pair it, Pixel Buds or anything else that I have, like my JVC gummies. I can pair that with this and listen to music that way too, if I want to. So the audio on here is absolutely good, clean, not a lot of bass, but it doesn't sound like a squawk box. So, you may not get that punchiness to it that you can get from some phone speakers, but nonetheless, it does good. It does good for what it is, just what it is. So, thumbs up there on that. Let me see. I guess its performance is actually on top too. I'll give it that. Not just the user interface of Oxygen OS, but just using the Snapdragon 750G. I don't feel like that this is really a mid-range device for just how fluid it is with the refresh rate and everything like that. You'll feel that when, like, say you've left the phone down for a couple of hours, you pick it up and you start scrolling, I'll get that little jitter jank happen. And yeah, that's probably about the only time that you'll see that happening. But throughout normal usage, throughout the day, just constantly using it and everything like that, having multiple apps open in background, sapping up that RAM and being able to launch more applications. And the idea of what Android was supposed to be, where you keep all your apps open in background, and as you're opening apps, if it's using up the amount of RAM that you have in there, it would automatically pause a specific app from using the RAM to free up RAM for the next app that you're opening. The OnePlus Nord N10 5G kind of emphasizes that. With the way that Oxygen OS is optimized along with the Snapdragon 750G, it's actually doing really good. At times, I would say if my experience with this is that good, that I'm actually happy with it, that it's got my stamp of approval as a device that you should definitely check out if you're interested in it, and it works great. I can only imagine what the OnePlus 9 and 9 Pro are like, because this, to me, honestly, I wouldn't say it feels flagship, but it's kind of teetering on that. So when other reviewers are talking about that the Nord N10 5G is is the essence of what OnePlus used to be, where OnePlus used to call themselves the flagship killer. They used to build, devices that were, that were affordable and yet performed almost identical to what a flagship would, that you wouldn't even think of getting a flagship. You wouldn't look at the phone and say, okay, this is garbage. Let me just go back to an iPhone, or let me go back to a Galaxy S model phone. Like, that was what OnePlus was initially doing in their earlier years, with, like the original OnePlus to the OnePlus 5, the OnePlus 6. That's when they started to kind of climb in price, but until those times. And so the Nord N10 5G kind of exemplifies OnePlus's core values from back in the day. So really good performance, really good software optimization, decent cameras for photography and for videography. Audio is good. It could be better, but it's good. And yeah, the display, the refresh rate, and everything is thumbs up. I totally dig it. Can only imagine if they stuck with Cyanogen rather than creating Oxygen OS. I mean, if they had Cyanogen on this still, whoo! I can only imagine, because Cyanogen Mod was a go-to custom ROM for Android. So as far as the design and everything like that, ergonomically it's comfortable in my hand. I have no issues, no finger cramps and stuff like that holding this thing. It's a very tall phone. It's not a very wide phone, so I'll give it that. Now, there are some things that I don't like about it. The fact that it doesn't have dual SIM support. Okay, now, not that I necessarily need dual SIM, but it's a nice option to have in case you need to do that, and this doesn't have it. Despite what certain websites list the specifications for it, it does not. So I can't run anything else on here besides Metro. I can't have the Metro line in and then say have an eSIM support for Google Fi. Like, it's just not there. That's pretty much one of the negatives I can say really about the OnePlus Nord N10 5G. All the other stuff is pretty much subjective. So like the glossy back, I don't care for it. I don't like it. I don't need it to look like a glass back. I don't know why they did that. But again, that kind of annoys me because, of course, it's very slippery without a case. And the final major thing, which is not even a spec-wide thing or a behavioral thing with the phone, it actually is a cosmetic thing. And that is, why did they put the IMEI underneath the OnePlus stamp on the back of the phone? To me, that's really ridiculous, because the IMEI is for your phone. And if you want to rock this thing butt naked and say somebody has Clark Kent's eyes and it can really zoom in on that, they can get your IMEI of your phone. I don't understand why they would do that. Like, I seen LG do it, but LG did it in a different way. They put a sticker back here, and the sticker would tell you that there's a non-removable battery, and this was your IMEI, because when LG phones stuck to their guns and were using removable batteries, your IMEI or MEID was underneath the battery. So people were always used to looking in the back of the phone for their MEID or IMEI. And so LG, when they started using non-removable batteries, they put a sticker that had the IMEI. So if you needed to activate on a website, you could do that and then peel the sticker off, tear it up and throw it away, and you're good to go. But OnePlus put the IMEI underneath the OnePlus stamp. So right in there, you can barely see it. Right, that little bit of gray right there, that is the IMEI to this phone. I don't understand why it's there. I mean, most people know that you can dial *#06# and it'll bring up a little window with your IMEI. You can always look on the box, and that has a sticker that has your IMEI. It doesn't need to be permanently tramp stamped on the back of their phones. That is the one thing that aggravates me about this. Not enough to where I'm going to throw the phone, but I'm just like, when I think about it, I'm always questioning, why OnePlus? Why tramp stamp your phone with the IMEI? That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Tramp stamping your phone with the IMEI. You are ridiculous, OnePlus, for that one. And that's really all the negatives I got to say about it. It's a decent phone. It's a really decent phone. I mean, Metro had a deal where they were giving it away for free with a port-in. You getting this phone for free? That's a hell of a deal for what you're getting out of it. And again, this phone delivers user experience, in my opinion, that comes close to the experience of a Pixel 5. Now, while spec-wise, people say the Pixel 5 is a mid-range, in the realm of Google's hardware, the Pixel 5 is last year's flagship for them. And this brings a very similar experience to that. Probably an identical experience to the Pixel 4a 5G. So the two brands that I feel that deliver the closest experience to a Google Pixel phone would be OnePlus and Motorola. So the only two. So yeah, I would recommend this. I really would. My hand will be covering it most of the time. Oh, of course. But still, it's still a bonehead move. It's still a bonehead move to do it. Because let's say someone was able to jack your phone, right? And they wanted to take your SIM card and throw it out. Well, they don't need to look for the IMEI no further than look at the back of the phone. Right? So I mean, yeah, I mean theoretically, it's still going to be kind of hard for someone to steal your phone, because even if someone wants to come up and read your IMEI and then go on Metro and do a phone swap on their account and plug your IMEI in and then try to do some BS and say oh, my phone was stolen. I mean, obviously they can trace IMEI switches and stuff like that. I know this because I worked at a call center. If you had a Sprint account and you put a phone on your account that came from somebody else's account, I can trace the phone back to where it's been activated before. So yes, but the point is that it's still a bonehead move to put the IMEI on the back of the OnePlus Nord N10 5G. It shouldn't be there. It shouldn't be permanently branded there. A sticker? Yes. That's private information. Honestly, it's private information. And of course, most people are going to put a case on it, so it's not that big of a deal. But I still say that it's still a bonehead move for OnePlus to put the freaking IMEI on the back of the phone. It's just ridiculous. I mean, you don't see all the other brands doing it. You don't see the Pixel with its IMEI etched into the back of the phone. You don't see it on Samsung phones. Obviously, it's for a very important reason. So, and then I think if I remember back in the days when I used to clone Moto Razr V3Ms, the IMEI MEID is what you needed to clone. So if someone today still does that and they still clone phones, they just need that IMEI data to actually clone it. And they can take another phone and clone that phone, where basically throughout the system, when you get a text message on your phone, somebody else could be getting that text message on a OnePlus Nord N10 5G they have, that they've cloned your IMEI to it, so it's going to receive connection. That's my point. But it's not like I said, it's not that big of a deal where I'm going to tell people don't buy the OnePlus Nord N10 5G because the IMEI is branded on the back of the phone. No, I just find I nitpick at that. That's what annoys me. But that's me. That is a subjective thing. That's why I said earlier, it's a subjective thing, because it bugs me. It may not bug everybody else, but it bugs me. If I had to rate this phone, if I had to rate the Nord N10 5G, to be honest with everybody, I'm going to say out of 10, this bad boy here is an 8.5 out of 10, in my opinion. It's always a good phone. If I had to buy another one, I would. I definitely would. I was doing speed tests with Google Fi, Mint, and T-Mobile Prepaid. Google Fi and Mint are deprioritized. Speeds were always higher on T-Mobile Prepaid on the third test I did. Awesome. And yeah, Jose can vouch for the clarity of the cameras, because I live streamed on Facebook with the OnePlus Nord N10 5G, and it was really clear. It was really clear. It was nice. So definitely. So I got about 10 minutes left here before we end the podcast. Open discussion right now. If you guys have any questions about the Nord N10, ask them. If I can answer them, I will answer them. But this is pretty much going to be like my coverage on it. I do have a video vlog dropping later on. I just finished rendering it, so it's ready to upload. And it's talking about AT&T 5G in Phoenix. So OnePlus is worth picking up. Yeah, to me it is. I mean, I rated it at an 8.5, and I'm actually pretty picky, because you guys know that I like using Pixels. That is like my go-to devices to use. Not a Samsung fan. So yeah, for me to actually give an 8.5 to the OnePlus Nord N10 5G, that's a lot. For me saying it, that's a lot. But yeah, that video is dropping later on. I know I uploaded like a small little shorts showing the speed that was inside the bedroom. And like I said, that's a UFO landed here or something, because all the carrier speeds are very low here in this room. But I did take the Pixel 5 out to do speed tests in very different places, and while it's not that fast yet, but it's nice to know that AT&T does have a wide field of coverage here in the city of Phoenix and on the outskirts, like in Glendale, Peoria, Tempe, Scottsdale, Chandler, Ahwatukee, and all the outskirt areas. It's got a good connection. You can tell me that Samsung has improved a ton with their TouchWiz UI. It's not really the user interface that bothers me all too much with Samsung. It's a lot of their services pushed. And like I said, this is subjective, because people will say the same thing about the Pixel phone. They'll be like, oh yeah, the Pixel the same way. They push Google apps over other third-party apps, and yeah. But I mean, to me, I would rather use Google services. So like, you know, just a lot of the wonkiness of like Samsung apps and services that they push on you, I just don't like it. I'm sure it's a good phone. I'm not going to take away anything from the Samsung Galaxy S series or the Note series. As a matter of fact, if I had no choice but to go with the Galaxy phone, it would be a Galaxy Note. I would rather go with that, because that has a little bit more functionality to it than the regular smartphone does. So I would opt that if I had to. But to me personally, I just think I just got over the whole Samsung thing about 4 years ago, and I didn't want to go back to it. But they're good phones. I will never take away from even back in the day, 5 years ago, when I had the what is it? The Galaxy J6. What's it again? The G6, yeah, or J6. But yeah, the J series phones that I had, they were really good. I liked them. So pretty solid. Yeah. So, anyways, that video for the AT&T 5G speed tests and, you know, my thoughts on it, that video should come out in about an hour or two. That should be up. It's a vlog style. I decided to go vlog, so I didn't want to do like an intro, outro, like all that cliche shit. I didn't want to do that. So it's just like raw video with some video samples in it too, so you guys can see the speed test that I was running, to get an idea from various different places in Phoenix, and show you guys the speed there. Again, I'm going to say this because I know somebody is going to comment and say, wow, that's pretty crappy speeds. I said it in the video, and I'll say it now on the podcast. It's not the best speeds. So don't think of it being like you know, a gigabyte down or anything like that. Didn't the Samsung J6 have? No, it didn't. It ran TouchWiz. The J6 2016, which that was probably like the coolest Samsung phone I liked. It's like the color of it was like gold, right? So the body style of the phone was plastic, but it was gold, and it was very light in the hand. But like the cameras were good on that thing. At least the main camera was good. I used it for a while. I think the J17 was the other one, the really big white one. The J17 is also what I used. But yeah, with the AT&T video, don't expect, you know, high speeds. I don't think it was like, yeah, it was just connected to its low mid band, and so it yielded similar speeds to LTE. That's what I was saying. But that video will drop later. Anyways, yeah. So thank you guys for joining me here on the live podcast. Thank you guys so much. Thanks, Jose, Riverdale Tales, Gene. We had Big John Tech Reviews in here, and again, I enjoyed his live stream. Tech for Your Needs was in here earlier, so was Mario. But thank you guys for being in here on the live stream. For those that watched the replay, let's see, hashtag never settle. So I know you guys watched the whole entire thing till the end and got all that information absorbed. Also, For the replay crew, comment below what do you guys think on each of the subjects that I talked about. If you have questions about the N10 5G, also leave them in the comment section too, and I'll get back to you guys on it in the comments. But yeah, also if you missed this morning's live stream where I talked about Mortal Kombat and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge game coming soon, and Streets of Rage 4 DLC coming out here soon, go check that out. I'll post it in the I'll share the link and stuff on Twitter and on Telegram. If you're following me on Telegram, I'll put the link in the description. You guys can follow me on Telegram and chat with me there personally, and reach out to me there too as well. So I'll put that here in a little while, so check back later to see that link if you guys want to follow me on Telegram. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I am done for now. Have a safe weekend, everybody. Be cool out there. Be safe. Love you guys very much. As always, peace. Allah.